Hey, what's up, guys? This one is called House of Ddon. And what's that all about? Well, today I was just driving in my car and just sort of coming up with, they're not ideas, it's just more what I need to do. It was like mental organization. And I guess I'm just going to use this opportunity to do this podcast, daily podcast. 365 days of podcasting. I'm going to use today just to reinforce for myself some ideas that I was thinking about earlier. And I think it's important that I do verbally, audibly reinforce some of these ideas. And when I think of making sure that I follow through on some of these thoughts, that would constitute a wider umbrella term that I could call House of Ddon. But I was just thinking to myself, and I want to reaffirm to myself that this is important stuff for me. And that's just that we have, I'm guessing we have, all of us, I know I do, a web of people around me that are make up my friends and my family and others. And mostly friends and family, though. And it's a system. We're constantly interacting with each other, and we cohabitat space, and we are all cogs in the wheel of our lives. And we all pretty much depend on each other in one way or another, depending on your relationship to the other people. So whether it's friend or mom or brother or employee or employer or roommate, any of those relationships that we have, we all have a duty to pull our weight for the sake of these people that are in our network, our close friends and family network, that depend on us. Each individual has people that depend on them in different ways, some more than others. The needs of each person depends on that relationship, obviously. So I think it's so important that I do my very best to analyze all of the important relationships in my life and analyze and reaffirm my responsibility to those relationships, and why it's so important to me that I do a better job of that. I mean, I can definitely say for myself that I can do a better job in all of those relationships. And I think since, this whole thing, living in a house, in a neighborhood, around people. Hello, Mitchie. Mitchie, come here. Yeah. Come here, Mitchie. Come here. Mitchie. And it's a system. It's a system, and we all play our part in the system. So if the system is going to work turnkey, harmony, then everyone has to do the best they can to do their part to the people that are dependent upon them in one way or another. And sometimes I'm guilty of this. I think I'm more independent from that web of people than I really am. And my happiness depends on making sure I fulfill those duties to those respective relationships. I have different responsibilities to each person. It's different. But they all are very important. So I think, like I was saying, I must analyze the importance of each relationship and then the duties that I have to each relationship to make that system work turnkey and have there be harmony instead of chaos. Because I think if one person, you have these different relationships and you have, if a person that I don't even know might have more of an impact on me than I realize because they know someone who I know and they know them. So it's like you have this, however many degrees of separation, and I don't see them per se. I don't see their role in my, system. But they're having an effect because it's a chain reaction. So if, if one person can't pay their way, then it will have an effect on the other people that have to pay the consequences of the person not paying their way, right? So I want to just reaffirm to myself that it's an important virtue to make sure that it's very important that you are the best you can be as far as fulfilling your obligations. Mitchell. Okay, so come here. Come here, Richie. Come here. Yeah, Mr. Mitchie. So yeah, sorry, Mitchie. Yeah. So what it reminds me of, and I go back to my restaurant operations class in college, at Stout. At Stout, I can hear Mitchell screaming down there. Mitchie, come here. Maybe Quill ate Mitchell's food, so he's pissed. Yeah, restaurant operations class. And my instructor, Chef D'Souza, I guess I could call him. He was, so the whole premise of the class was that you pair up with someone and you plan for your meal. Each group is going to have a meal where they write the menu, they assign positions to everyone in the class, they come up with job duties for every person in the class. You have to You have to have all the measurements of all the servings of each dish you plan on serving. You invite your friends and family, and they come to your meal. And when it's not your meal, you are like working on making soup, or you're a server, or you're on the grill. So each person will, play their part in that system of the kitchen. And he would just stress systems so much, how important it is to create a system and then everybody follows it. So he wanted you to plan out everything to a T. He wanted you to systemize everything, and he made you do it for your meal. And it was so important to systemize every little detail of every aspect of that meal. So when the time comes, you have a turnkey system. People come, people order. The plate comes out looking beautiful. The dessert comes out looking beautiful. Everyone gets what they want. Their steak is done right. And it was just, the purpose of the class was to teach you systems and planning, and thinking ahead about every detail, everything that could go wrong. And if people didn't follow the system, he would kick them out of class. That was his thing. You would hear him every week yell at someone. He would say, "Follow the system. Follow the system." And if they didn't follow the system, or if their shirt was unbuttoned or something, I mean, you had to be dressed perfectly, and you have to wear your hat. And if you don't, you're out. He's going to ask you to leave. So, I mean, best class ever. It was, I'll talk about my meal maybe a different time, but I will say restaurant operations at Stout, for my hotel restaurant tourism management degree, that was by far the best class. Restaurant operations with D'Souza. And D'Souza was the best as far as learning for me at college. It was Peter D'Souza. God, I hope I got that right. Peter. I think it was Peter. It's been a while. And it makes me think about that, because he used to hammer into our heads that if you don't do your part in the system, then no one's having fun. Only after everyone does their part, pulls their weight inside the system, and in this case it was a restaurant operating turnkey with harmony, until everyone does their part, you can't have fun. Once everyone does their part, then you crack open the wine. Then you bring out the dessert. Then you're laughing. Then you unbutton your shirt. But until then, you have to do your job. Otherwise, he kicks you out of class. And so, yeah, I was thinking about that today, that lesson for myself of how important playing my part inside the system of this web that I'm in, whether I want to be or not. I want to be in the web. Of course I want to be in the web. All these people, I love all of them. Even the ones I don't know very well. But I will say, some of the shit I read on Facebook, though, a lot of it, by a lot of my really close friends, I cannot stand. I can't stand it. I stay quiet on these issues, but I can't stand the shit they say. I love them, though. It doesn't matter what they say. We just disagree. I'm not going to delete anyone. I'm not going to delete you because I disagree with you. Yeah, doing your part, pulling your weight, paying your way. I think doing a good job at that, that's when you can, then after that, after you fulfill your obligations, these things you sign up for, and sometimes you forget you sign up for it. But the shit you sign up for, you gotta fulfill your agreement. You're part of the deal. And like I said, I'm trying to reinforce this to myself so I can do a better job at it. I need to do a better job at it. That's what this is. It was me verbally, just out loud, saying my thoughts that went through my head today, based on the stuff that's happened in the past couple days. I really should work on these things better. And hey, the people in my life, I can say they have to work on it a lot more too. I mean, you know what you got to do. Everyone knows what they have to do. But taking a second to stop and think about it. And the thing is, you know what you need to do, but sometimes you don't realize how important it is. And the kind of chain reaction that gets set off if you're not doing your part. And at least communicating, that's one thing I realize. Like, most of the time when I'm having problems, people make up they make up scenarios inside their head when it's not true. The scenarios inside of their head, or even if they have a bad dream, it's not necessarily based on reality, but that's where the communication comes in. How can you expect them to have an accurate idea of what the situation is if you don't communicate to them? So my rule is kind of I don't think you can over communicate. I think you go ahead and over communicate to the point of annoyance. That's what I believe. I'd rather have error on the side of annoying over communicating than under communicating. All right, this has gone on long enough. 520 seconds. Goodbye. Good night, you guys. Friday night. Have a good night.